These once wealthy owners began with fortunes most people could only dream of, yet spiraling expenses ultimately caught up with them. Crushed by overwhelming upkeep costs, costly courtroom clashes, and collapsing business ventures, they watched their extravagant estate slip from their grasp. Up next, we visit Nicolas Cage's haunted mansion lost to foreclosure. Once riding high with a fortune of about $170 million, actor Nicolas Cage found his wealth slipping through his fingers thanks to an extravagant lifestyle and mounting tax debts. At the height of his success, he owned more than a dozen properties across the globe, including a storied New Orleans estate whispered about for its eerie past. He bought the Lavish mansion in 2006 for roughly $3.5 million, unaware that only 3 years later he'd be forced to surrender it when financial troubles and a collapsing housing market caught up with him. The mansion itself had risen from ashes, literally rebuilt in 1838 after an earlier home on the lot burned down. Over the generations, it served many roles: a music conservatory in the 1880s, a refuge for struggling men in the 1920s, and eventually, Cage's fleeting residence. After its seizure in 2009, energy trader Michael Whalen scooped it up for just $2.3 million and poured nearly $4.5 million into restoring the 10,300 square foot Empire-style property. Adding modern luxury and even a secret speakeasy tucked behind a mirrored door in the master suite. The mansion's 3 floors feature 8 bedrooms, 10 bathrooms, a grand dining hall, dramatic black cabinet kitchen, billiards room, private guest suite, and 2 standalone apartments, all wrapped in a sweeping balcony that overlooks New Orleans. Though Whalen later listed the home for over $10 million, he ultimately sold the legendary estate at a steep discount for around $6.6 million in October 2024. Next, we head to Bel Air, where developer Niall Niami's colossal dream home became one of the most dramatic real estate collapses in modern history. Known as The One, the mega mansion was once hyped as the most expensive urban estate on Earth, but by 2021 the project was drowning in debt and ultimately taken over by the Los Angeles County Superior Court. Niami had poured staggering sums into the 105,000 square foot compound designed by acclaimed architect Paul McLean, envisioning a $500 million showpiece towering over Los Angeles. Yet after defaulting on more than $165 million in loans, his company filed for bankruptcy and the 21-bedroom, 49-bathroom palace was forced into receivership. The home was put up for auction with a $295 million price tag, but concerns over missing occupancy approvals, years of financial turmoil, and global uncertainty kept potential buyers at bay. Even so, wealthy visitors from across Asia and the Middle East reportedly toured the property, curious to see its over-the-top luxuries. From a private nightclub and a 4-lane bowling alley to a 50-seat theater, spa, and seemingly endless entertainment spaces. Ultimately, in March 2022, the mansion sold at auction for just $141 million to Richard Sagian, founder of Fashion Nova, far below expectations, yet still shattering the record for the priciest home ever sold under the hammer in the United States. Decked out with an underground garage for 50 cars, multiple pools, a sky deck, and a putting green, the estate remains one of the most extravagant homes ever built, despite its spectacular financial downfall. Our journey now takes us to Miami's glittering Star Island, where German-born investor Thomas Kramer once lived in towering luxury before a years-long legal feud cost him everything. Kramer, a larger-than-life figure who helped reshape South Beach during the 1990s, funded his real estate ventures with money supplied by his ex-wife's stepfather, German industrialist Siegfried Otto. Kramer insisted the cash was a gift. Otto's heirs insisted it was a loan. After years of court battles overseas, a Swiss ruling in 2003 ordered Kramer to repay roughly $192 million, and when the judgment was later enforced in the U.S. in 2017, his primary residence was forced into foreclosure. That home, a sprawling Mediterranean-style compound built across 2 waterfront lots, had cost him just over $5 million total in the 1990s, a fraction of its later worth. During its heyday, the 17,000 square foot retreat was famed for wild celebrations attended by celebrities and business elites, including the Hilton sisters. Inside, visitors found 13 bedrooms, 12 bathrooms, a private theater, gym, spa, pool, and a 14-car garage, all wrapped in a striking red and black aesthetic with Gothic touches like stained glass doors and ceiling murals. The 1.8-acre property also featured 2 boat docks on Biscayne Bay and a jet ski ramp. By the time creditors reclaimed the estate, auction photos revealed a once lavish world frozen in time, complete with eccentric decor, life-sized animal statues, and other oddities later sold off by the sheriff's office in 2018. That same year, the entire 2-lot compound finally went under the hammer for about $33 million, roughly $7 million below its original asking price, an extravagant dream dissolved by debt. Our next stop brings us to South Dakota, where a once proud governor's mansion traveled a long, unlucky road. The 1936 residence in Pierre had served 16 state leaders before Mike Rounds briefly moved in during 2003. After only 3 months, he and his family abandoned it, frustrated by aging wiring, unreliable plumbing, and years of neglect. A newer, much larger executive residence was built on the same grounds, and the original home, sliced into 3 sections, was hauled away and left sitting in storage for years until finally auctioned for just $36,000. Its buyer, campground owner Rod Woodruff, soon passed it along to a friend, dentist Leon Brody, who hoped to restore the historic property. Brody spent more than $400,000 simply relocating the mansion to Rapid City, then poured roughly $3 million into transforming its 7,000 square feet into an elegant event venue, complete with a formal staircase, ornate lighting, commercial kitchen, sprawling reception rooms, and upgraded grounds featuring patios, a circular drive, and even quirky touches like windmills and a miniature Stonehenge. The business thrived briefly, but enormous upkeep drained its profits. Annual taxes of about $12,000 and monthly electric bills pushing $700 forced Brody into deep debt. By the time the bank foreclosed, he reportedly owed around $500,000, and when the mansion returned to auction in 2013, it couldn't even meet its minimum price, selling for just $410,000, nearly the same amount it had cost to move less than a decade before. Our next stop brings us to Miami's famed Ocean Drive, where the legendary Casa Casuarina, better known as the Versace Mansion, endured a turbulent fall from glamour to court-ordered sale. Originally built in 1930 by architect and oil heir Alden Freeman, the home was modeled after a historic Dominican palace tied to the family of Christopher Columbus. But it was not until designer Gianni Versace discovered the Mediterranean-style jewel decades later that the estate reached iconic status. Versace poured more than $30 million into transforming the residence, adding a lavish south wing, lush mosaic garden, and a 54-foot pool inlaid with 24-karat gold. His life and his time in the mansion ended tragically in 1997, when he was murdered on its very doorstep. In 2000, telecom entrepreneur Peter Lofton acquired the property for $20 million and later leased it to hotelier Barton G. Weiss. However, financial turmoil soon caught up with him. By 2011, Lofton was accused of defaulting on a $25 million mortgage, sparking multiple lawsuits, including fraud allegations and competing claims tied to a Ponzi scheme conviction involving a minority shareholder. As the legal drama escalated, bankruptcy courts took control, and in 2013, the mansion was ordered to auction, hailed at the time as one of the most extraordinary properties ever to hit the block. Once listed at $125 million, the residence's asking price plunged to $75 million before finally selling to VM South Beach LLC for just $41 million, marking a dramatic end to one of Miami's most glamorous addresses. Our journey continues in Beverly Hills, where the storied Beverly Estate, once a playground for American royalty, experienced a dramatic change in fortune. Built in 1925 by architect Gordon Kaufman, the sprawling mansion played host to John and Jackie Kennedy during their 1953 honeymoon and later made a cinematic appearance in The Godfather. Real estate investor Leonard Ross purchased the grand property decades later, hoping to preserve and profit from its golden age mystique. The H-shaped residence boasted extraordinary features: a 55-foot entrance hall, 20 bedrooms, 30 bathrooms, dual dining and screening rooms, a billiard room, and a soaring 2-story library. Outside, the estate extended over nearly 4 acres of manicured gardens, dotted with water features, archways, 2 tennis courts, a guest house, a pool and pool house, and open-air dining space for hundreds of guests. Ross invested heavily in renovating the property during the 1990s, imagining it would pay for itself as an event venue, but the revenue never matched expectations. By 2019, the LLC controlling the mansion faced around $75 million in debt, forcing Ross to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Despite attempts to sell the estate for as much as $135 million in 2018, mounting financial pressure and legal battles with lenders pushed the historic home toward foreclosure. Ultimately, in September 2021, the Beverly estate went to auction, where billionaire investor Nicholas Berggruen purchased it for about $63 million, less than half of what Ross once hoped it would bring, sealing a bittersweet end for one of California's most iconic homes.
The developer of the largest mansion in Billings, who's accused of faking his own kidnapping in Virginia to flee his massive debts, today pleaded not guilty in federal court in Billings to charges of wire fraud.
38-year-old Larry Price Jr. faces 6 counts of wire fraud for soliciting $13.5 million from investors in a Wyoming company and then allegedly spent the money for his own use. The court indictment alleges Price transferred money from banks in West Virginia, Texas, and Wyoming to his accounts in Montana.
This past May, Price was charged in Virginia federal court for lying to federal investigators after he claimed he was kidnapped by a biker gang, then robbed at his bike shop there.
If convicted, Price could face up to 20 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. He is not being held in jail.
This is the Larry Price Mansion. Larry Price is the man behind the largest house ever built in Billings, a 10-bedroom, 15-bathroom castle with 3 pools and an elevator on Billings' far west end. The Three Blind Mice LLC are the creditors which claim the title to the $10.5 million home in May. A former Billings mansion owner with deep ties to the coal industry has pleaded guilty to federal charges of wire fraud, money laundering, and lying to federal investigators. Larry Wayne Price Jr., 38, admitted to the charges Tuesday morning in the U.S. District Court in Billings, as a part of a plea agreement filed by prosecutors earlier in the day. He pleaded guilty to 3 counts of wire fraud, 1 count of conspiracy to commit money laundering, and 1 count of making false statements to federal investigators. Price is a former vice president of surface mining activities at Signal Peak Energy, a company that operates a coal mine near Roundup and has been associated with other businesses in Montana and Virginia. He is also known locally as the man behind a more than $10 million, 26,000 square foot mansion that is the largest residential building ever constructed in Billings. For each of the 3 counts of wire fraud, Price faces up to 20 years in prison. The conspiracy charge also has a maximum sentence of 20 years, and lying to federal investigators carries a penalty up to 5 years in prison. Not to mention, Price must also pay back more than $20 million in restitution for financial activity that defrauded 3 companies over an 18-month span that ended this April. Included in the terms of Price's restitution is a lengthy agreement that spans 5 properties in Montana, including his West End mansion, a property in Virginia, an unspecified amount of jewelry purchased after his financial fraud began, a motorhome, 6 boats, and 4 trailers. This ginormous, absolutely gorgeous house will now sit behind and collect nothing but dust.
Up next, we visit Elizabeth Holmes Mansions. Elizabeth Holmes, once celebrated as America's youngest self-made female millionaire at age 30 in 2014, is now serving a 9-year and 7-month sentence in a federal women's prison camp in Texas for fraud. Holmes amassed a fortune through her startup Theranos, which claimed to have created groundbreaking technology capable of performing hundreds of health tests with just a single drop of blood. By the time it was exposed that the technology was ineffective, Holmes and her co-founder, Sunny Balwani, had defrauded investors out of over $712 million. Charged in 2022, Holmes saw her original 11-year sentence reduced by 2 years in July 2023. In her prime, Holmes' net worth soared to an astonishing $4.75 billion in 2014. That same year, she and Balwani, who was then the president and chief operations officer of Theranos, as well as her boyfriend, purchased an opulent 5-bedroom mansion in Atherton, Silicon Valley for $8.9 million. Spanning 9,400 square feet, the luxurious home sits on just over an acre in one of the area's most affluent neighborhoods. Built in 1934, the gated estate boasts elegant living spaces, including a wine cellar and a wet bar, while the meticulously landscaped grounds feature a swimming pool, a detached guest house, and an air-conditioned loggia. After Holmes and Balwani parted ways in 2018, Balwani bought out Holmes' share of the property for $8.1 million, making him the sole owner. Amid the legal chaos that followed, Balwani put the mansion on the market in 2021, and it eventually sold in 2022 for $16 million, a sum likely needed to cover his legal expenses. During her 2021 criminal trial, Holmes and her partner William Evans were reported by CNBC to be staying at Green Gables, one of America's most expensive private estates. While the main house was listed for a staggering $150 million, the couple rented one of the 6 more modest homes on the sprawling 78-acre property. The secluded estate provided a refuge from the intense media scrutiny surrounding her trial, though her choice of such a lavish residence drew significant public criticism, especially considering the $690 million Theranos had raised from wealthy investors. Holmes and Balwani were ordered to repay $460 million to the victims of their fraud, which included high-profile figures like media mogul Rupert Murdoch. However, given the magnitude of their debts and the extent of their financial ruin, it appears unlikely that the defrauded investors will ever see their money returned. Holmes' dramatic rise and fall from a billionaire entrepreneur to a convicted felon continues to captivate the public, serving as a stark reminder of the perils of unchecked ambition and deceit in the business world. Up next, we visit the case of Melissa Caddick, often dubbed Australia's Bernie Madoff, proves that truth can indeed be stranger than fiction. Caddick swindled a little over $15 million from her clients, friends, and family to fund a lavish lifestyle, which included art, jewelry, clothing, a luxurious Sydney mansion, and a high-end penthouse now set for auction in October. Before facing justice, however, she vanished, leading to a gruesome discovery months later. Outwardly, Melissa Caddick appeared to live a typical life. The 49-year-old resided with her husband, Anthony Coletti, in Sydney's Dover Heights and worked as a financial advisor. Beneath this facade, she was running an elaborate Ponzi scheme comparable to the infamous American conman Bernie Madoff. Her scheme collapsed in November 2020 when the Australian Federal Police and the Australian Securities and Investments Commission raided her home. It was later revealed that Caddick had defrauded 72 investors through her bogus financial services company, reportedly using an associate's financial services license to carry out her scam. Her husband has denied any involvement in her crimes. Hours after the 2020 raid, Caddick disappeared. 3 months later, her decomposing foot, still inside a running shoe, was found washed up on a beach on the south coast of New South Wales. An inquest in May 2023 concluded that Caddick was deceased, though the circumstances of her death remain unclear. Speculations that she amputated her own foot to evade capture were dismissed, especially given her lack of contact with her son. As the full extent of her fraud became known, auctions of Caddick's possessions were held to recover funds for her victims. One of her significant assets, a plush penthouse, is set for auction on the 10th of October by Richardson and Wrench Double Bay. The Edgecliff, New South Wales apartment, with its sweeping views of Sydney Harbour, is expected to fetch between $2.5 and $3.4 million. Caddick purchased the 3-bedroom property for just over $2.1 million in 2015 for her parents, Barbara and Ted Grimley, who later claimed they had contributed over $550,000 towards its purchase in exchange for a third ownership. This dispute was settled in federal court in June 2023, with the Grimleys accepting a $500,000 payout and relinquishing their ownership claim. They have not been accused of any wrongdoing. Another property, the Dover Heights home from which Caddick disappeared, sold in October 2022 for $6 million. Of the sale proceeds, $1.2 million was allocated to Caddick's victims. This opulent residence featured 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, a swimming pool, and an alfresco dining area. Following her disappearance, Anthony Coletti continued living there until May 2022, when liquidators took possession and evicted him. Unsurprisingly, Caddick's dramatic and mysterious tale has attracted the interest of TV producers eager to bring the story of Australia's most notorious scam to the screen. Up next, we visit mafia boss Paul Castellano's mega mansion. Welcome to the iconic White House of Staten Island, a legendary property with a rich history deeply rooted in local lore. Once the domain of mob boss Paul Castellano, this sprawling estate boasts a staggering 8 bedrooms, 17 bathrooms, and a magnificent car showroom, making it a true gem of the borough. Nestled behind private gates on the prestigious Todd Hill, the world-renowned estate captivates with its grandeur and elegance. Situated on 2.5 acres of meticulously manicured grounds, the property offers breathtaking views of the Verrazano Bridge, creating an atmosphere of unparalleled luxury and exclusivity. Step inside and discover an entertainer's paradise, complete with resort-like amenities that redefine lavish living. From the opulent wine cellar to the personal beauty parlor and state-of-the-art home theater room, every corner of this neoclassical mansion exudes sophistication and style. Indulge in relaxation and wellness with a gym, sauna, solarium, and library, or take a dip in the indoor-outdoor Olympic-sized pools for the ultimate escape. The property has undergone extensive renovations since Castellano's tenure, yet its mystique as a former mob house adds an intriguing layer to its history. A highlight of the estate is the 13-car showroom, perfect for showcasing your automotive collection in style. Despite its notorious past, the White House stands as a symbol of luxury and prestige, offering a glimpse into a bygone era of power and influence. Once home to Big Paul Castellano, the former head of the Gambino crime family, this magnificent residence is now seeking a new owner to continue its legacy of grandeur and sophistication. Don't miss the opportunity to own a piece of history in this iconic island landmark. With Castellano out of the way, Gotti then took over the family and earned the nickname Dapper Don before losing a battle with cancer and dying in prison at age 61 in 2002. The Castellano name has, however, continued to appear in the headlines, including in 2013 when Paul's grandson was arrested for illegal waste carting.
All right, everyone, I think that's going to wrap this video up. Like I mentioned in the beginning, follow all my social media, and also 50% of the people who watch me don't subscribe. So just, if you're watching, just click the subscribe button. It's free. It means a lot. And then an alternative option would be to become a member, which costs a couple dollars, but then, you know, I'll be calling you guys, FaceTiming you guys. You get cool badges. You get exclusive videos. I'll be making videos that I can't show, like public channel. So you guys get a ton of cool features and by clicking here and becoming a member. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I love you guys. Thank you for the constant support. Feel free to share this video on anything, and I'll see you in the next video. Later.